Alright, language learners, in this video I'm going to show you how you can transcribe any piece of audio in a foreign language, most foreign languages, and transcribe it into text with punctuation. Now, it's a bit of a technical video, and it may look a little scary if you're not used to dealing with things like the terminal and programming languages and that sort of thing. But all you have to do, you don't have to know how any of this works, just follow my instructions step by step, and it should work. First things first, we'll need Python. Python is a very popular programming language, open source free programming language. And so the first thing we need to do is install that on your computer. So go to python.org/downloads and click this button here and run the installer. Now, this is very, very important. On this first screen here, you need to check this box. Add Python to the path. If we don't do this, nothing else that we do in this video will work. So make sure you check the box and then install. Okay. Now, as soon as you get this screen, the first thing we want to do is check to make sure that this install was successful and that we added our variable to the path. And the way we do that is hit the Windows key, CMD for the command prompt, enter, and it should bring up a terminal. And just type in Python space -- version, and you should get something that says Python 3 point something. Now, this none of this will work with any of the version 2 point whatever Python, so you have to be using. So go ahead and make sure that you download the most current version of Python, and as long as you're getting this prompt here, you should be good. Okay, the next thing we need to install is something called Chocolatey, and it is a package manager. So go to chocolatey.org/install and scroll down. You'll want to make sure that the individual box is checked. And you'll get, there should be a field here with this text here. Just click copy. And now hit the Windows key again and type in PowerShell. And you should see Windows PowerShell here. Don't click on it. Right click, run as administrator. And now we just paste the text that we took off the browser to install Chocolate. I already have this installed on my machine, so I'm going to fast forward. Okay, once we've installed Chocolatey, the next thing we need to do is install a package that allows you to program with audio files, and it's called FFmpeg, and we'll do that by typing into the PowerShell here, choco install FFmpeg. Enter. And as you can see, I already had it installed on my computer, but you should get a prompt that says successfully installed, and you can go ahead and close this window. Okay, next we need to install Microsoft Visual Studio Code. That's the code editor that I'll be using in this video. If you know your way around programming and you want to use a different one, like Atom or something like that, you're free to do so. But in this tutorial, I'll be using VS Code. So if you want to follow along with me, install it as well. It's a typical install. Click on your operating system and follow the instructions. Okay, once you've installed Visual Studio Code, go ahead and open it up. The first thing we need to do is install some extensions. So click on the extensions tab here and type in Python, enter. And it should be the first one that comes up on the left. I already have mine installed, but you should have a button here that says install. Go ahead and click that button and install it. Also, we need Jupyter. Same thing, top one here. Click the button and install. Okay, once we have installed our plugins, go ahead and go to File, Open Folder. When you're in VS Code, you always need to be in some sort of folder. And go ahead and create a new folder for you to work in. And you can call it something like Audio Transcribe, something like that. Go ahead and select it. And you should have a blank folder. You can go ahead and close the welcome screen. And first thing we need to do is just make sure that we installed Python correctly and that it's working within Visual Studio Code. So go ahead and right click, new file. And the traditional thing to do is to make a hello world type program. So we're going to type hello world.py and hit enter. And we'll write first little bit of code here, print, and in single or double quotes, hello world. And to be able to see if this worked or not, we need a terminal down at the bottom. So you can go ahead to the top here and click Terminal, New Terminal, or just do the shortcut key, Control Shift tilde to open up a new terminal. And it should open up down here on the bottom. Now click back inside of your .py file and hit F5 to run it. It's going to ask you what type of file this is. This is a .py file. The first time you do this, you may get a prompt asking you to install a Python kernel down here somewhere in the bottom right. If so, go ahead and do it. And if everything works, you should see down in your terminal here, hello world, and everything worked. Okay, so moving along, when you work with Python inside of VS Code or anything else, it's common practice to work inside something called an environment. So we're going to set up an environment now. Don't worry if you don't know what it means. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'll have all these commands in the notes, we're going to uninstall virtual environment if we haven't installed already, and start from scratch. And then reinstall it with pip install --user virtual env in the terminal. Hit enter. Okay, successful. Now, once we have installed virtual environment, we're going to actually create a virtual environment for us to work in. So we'll type this command here into the terminal and hit enter. Okay, next we're going to activate our environment so that it is a two-step process. We're going to add 2 commands down here into the terminal. This is the first one. Again, I'll have all of these in the notes so you can just copy and paste. Hit enter. And one more command to actually activate the environment. Enter. And you know it works if you have env in parentheses here before the file path. Okay, the next thing we need to do is install the code library that is actually going to make this work, that it will actually transfer out the audio into text, and that is a code library called Whisper. It's made by the people that created ChatGPT, OpenAI. And just copy and paste this command into the terminal while your environment is activated. This is very, very important. You have to have this parentheses env before your file path before you do this. And hit enter. This install may take a few minutes. Just be patient. All right, looks like it worked, but to confirm that, we're going to type pip freeze, pip freeze. And that we can expand this a little bit, but we should see OpenAI Whisper somewhere here on this list, along with some other packages that Whisper uses, so its dependencies. And it looks like we're in good shape here. And another thing we can do right away to make sure that it worked is add one more line of code here, import Whisper, F5 to run, and we should not get an error. And we did. So if you get an error like this, let's go ahead and troubleshoot this. Since some of you might get the same error, we'll hit stop here in the debugger. Control-Shift-P is a good place to start. Python select interpreter, and we're going to make sure that we're using our environment version. Let me do that again just to make sure you saw it. Control-Shift-P, select Python interpreter, and we're using the Python that is associated with our environment. That's the one we need to be using. So select that, and then hit F5 again, and this time we should be able to run it, no problem. Outstanding. Hello world, here at the bottom, we're in good shape. If you still have any problems at this point, just message me in the group, and I can help you troubleshoot. Okay, at this point, let's go ahead and import some audio that we want to transcribe. So I'm going to select here a chapter from the Spanish short story collection that I'm reading. And you just, from the Windows File Explorer, you just click and drag and copy it into your directory here, and you can go ahead and close that. Okay, the next thing we need to do is go ahead and close this. We don't need Hello World anymore. And we're going to create the actual code file, our final code file, that will transcribe the audio. And you can call it whatever you want. Audio transcribe, transcription.py, works for me. And go ahead and copy and paste all of the code from the code file that I included. And you will need to modify it each time you use it, because you'll need to select which audio file you want to transcribe. So for me here, I brought in this audio file called a1.mp3, and that's the name that I put here. And that's the only thing you need to change every time you run this. But that's it. You just change the file name and hit F5 and let it run. Depending on the length of the audio, you may have to wait quite a while, and also it depends on how powerful your machine is. Okay, looks like it works, and if you'll notice, it added a file here, and all I did was take the file name that you gave it at the top and added a underscore transcribe.txt, and you can open that up here, or you can open it up in Windows File Explorer and see your transcription. All right, thanks. Let me know if you have any questions.